is important because we must listen to people who come forward. We must listen. We have to get this whole thing out of our mind that shut up and nobody say nothing. Because you have to remember what we say around people um, goes a long way, or go a long way with people coming forward. And we want people to come forward. We want people to, share experience. Let us know what happened. So we, the public, you understand, not calling out anyone who has not been convicted of, being a rapist or a pedophile, but let us hear the conversations. Don't be afraid, and don't let people who are abused or people who claim that they are abused feel afraid to come forward. Understand? So with that said, I chose to speak to Elaine. I spoke to her behind the scene um, last year after Dr. Love spoke to her. I spoke to her and I spoke to Richie, because Richie is my brethren. And this comes to show you that it doesn't matter if someone is my brother. I'm not going to be the one to say, okay, it's my brother, and, I'm not going to speak on the issue. But I'm going to be very objective if there's nothing for me to go after a person. Yeah? So Brother Richie made a statement, and it is only fair for who have not heard the statement as yet to listen to what Richie had to say. So let us see if we can pull it up. I remember just using this platform, so let me know if everything good, if you can see it, and we roll. So let's listen to what Richie had to say.
Hello everyone, my name is Richard Stevenson, aka Richie Stevens, and I'm here today to address some allegations that you might see going around about me. Initially, I said I wasn't going to say anything, but now I think I owe it to my family, to my friends, and to my fans to come out and set the record straight. Miss Elaine Lim came out on social media and made some allegations against me. Some of what she said is true. But I am here to tell you what is true. One, she was on tour with me in Australia in 2019. Two, she made a formal report to the police against me. Three, she did a rape kit. But what she did not tell you, a thorough investigation was done by the Australian police. I was detained. They took a statement from me, a statement from her, a statement from other people, and there were cameras in the vicinity. While I was detained, I called my attorney, Mr. Christopher Townsend, who advised me on what to do. And at the end of that investigation, they found her allegations were simply baseless. You know what is true? I'm really sorry for her to know that she would go that far to try and get some recognition. We're living in a time where people are doing certain things. We see it every day. Some people believe that likes are far more important than the truth. And we're here today to bring the truth out. Check this out. She claimed that I came back to Jamaica and run on to the media and give them fabricated stories. I have not done not even one interview. I have not posted a video about the incident. I didn't do nothing like that. The only thing happened is my attorney, Mr. Christopher Townsend, wrote a letter that I posted on my IG. That's all I did. Now, this is in contrast to what she has done. You have to remember this, people. This woman is a professional video editor. And if you take a keen look at her video, you see the sheet behind her, you see she talk in a certain type of way. This is nothing but a stage performance, a whole stage production. No, you don't need to stage the truth. All right, people, let's take a look at something where she said. She said, in her country, I would be guilty until proven innocent, which is not even true. But that tells you how warped her mind is. She also took the time to invite the media to link her personally. Clearly, she had a boss. Now, ladies and gentlemen, she even trying to make it seem as if she didn't get justice in Australia. Australia is one of the most serious countries in the world when it comes to sex crimes. Now, I am a very serious supporter of bringing sexual predators to justice. But her allegations are simply not true. There are people with serious issues as a result of sex crimes. So when people like her come with all these lies, it does not help the movement. I am Richard Stevens, and that's my piece.
Good, great.
So that's from Richard Stevens. Richard said something that I want to shed a little bit of light on. I think we are misled to believe that Australia is one of the countries that is firm or is one of the countries that there are no problems or less problems with these types of cases. I think if you should look at some of the what's going on in Australia right now, there was a journalist who just had a big demonstration in Australia on something that happened with her within the parliament, and it caused a whole thing in Australia. So this thing that this narrative that Australia is one of the and I used to believe it until I did my own research. So you can maybe look at the whole Australian justice system, Australia's justice system, and decide for yourself. So without getting too much into what I have to say, I want to bring on Miss Elaine Lim. All right, so we can have a public discourse with her. All right. Hi.
Hi.
How are you?
Good day, everybody. Yes, because I was thinking about the timing back in Jamaica. I'm good.
Well,
Oh, just
before
to
you
calm
get
myself down.
before you get into it, I just want to let you know that I told everyone prior to this that I spoke to you off the air, and isn't that something that I'm trying to hide from anyone, that I speak to you because I'm
Yeah.
not ashamed or afraid to speak to you, and I also speak to Richie. And I told you that Richie is my brethren.
Yeah.
However, I think you should be heard. Yeah, I think you should. I think you should have a say. Richie said his piece yesterday, and I think you did some videos prior. But there are questions that many of us as Jamaicans and around the world, fans of Richie Stevens, have.
Yeah.
And I think you are the best person to ask to give us a little bit more information on what really happened. Yeah. So if you could walk us through some of the things that that happened, and you know, feel free, speak to the people.
Okay, let me breathe. It's always very traumatizing when you actually have to recap it, but I do understand that people need to hear and listen to what exactly happened. So I'm sure you've heard the Singapore part, whereby, you know, when he first met me, he stuck his tongue down my throat, during which my partner saw and he had to be held back. And then after that, I'm just gonna
Excuse me,
zoom
when you say your partner, you're the person your fiance saw.
Yes, and he really wanted to punch him because everybody could see that he was forcing himself onto me.
So someone actually was there that witnessed this.
Yes, and
Okay.
not just him. He actually asked around because it was an event that we brought him in Singapore to this very high class place called C'est La Vie that I was assisting with, several aspects of the setup, the event, because I was very much assisting my friend, Asia One, who is based here in Singapore, and we were working with Richie Stevens at a point of time. That was the first time I met him. And then we didn't really keep in contact much until, again, the next time of the meeting was in Jamaica, where I was also following along my friend Asia One. And I was doing documenting of this journey, this beautiful journey of bringing reggae music or bringing Jamaican culture into Asia. So she was doing some recordings, music were being planned, and I was just there documenting everything. During which nothing really funny happened until one night where when she was asleep, he tried to kiss me again. And then during which, pushed him away. I said, stop. And he stopped. So that's twice. After that, came back, did our thing. For people who think that I actually went on a tour for him, I didn't. The tour in question is called Jamaican Flavor Tour. So that was, I think, timeline was, I think September, they were announcing that they were going to New York, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, Australia, Japan, and then I think New York again, if I'm not wrong. So the Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia, that part of the tour were organized by my friend. So after that, when I was on the tour, New York, I didn't follow them. But when I followed along, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, I was helping with administration. I was also doing a little bit of documenting because this was supposed to be a whole documenting of a journey of collaboration of bringing Jamaican music into Asia. Now, Australia, where Asia had her own shows, but she also was on Jamaican Flavor. Sorry, not what was that? JMFF, Jamaican Music and Food Festival. So those were the two artists on the bill, Richie and Misha. Each of them had their own slots. I was there, not part of Richie's team. I was there for Major One. I was there to document the journey of bringing Jamaican music into Asia, of making sure that this whole journey is captured when Indonesian collaborations were in place. All right, so I hope this explains how I end up from Singapore to then being with him in Australia. I was not involved in any of the accommodation planning, but we were housed together, me, Major, and Reggie. We had separate rooms, but a common living space. And before everybody addressed, why am I so naive to be in the same place with him? Well, the extent that I thought he would go to was he would try to flirt with me, that he would try to kiss me, because these are all things that he has done. But also, every single time, when during that point of time I said no, he respected that no. So I have then thought in my head, okay, when I say no, I'm gonna be respected. I'm gonna be safe. I end up calling him an uncle because he ends up calling me his niece. And I was like, okay, I should feel that, we're like family. My friend was like his sister. And this would feel that he will protect me. He won't hurt me. Maybe he'll try something funny, try to flirt. But beyond that, nothing else. So that was the line that we all thought was the threshold. So throughout this whole part of Australia's tour, I was never left alone until the 12th of November 2019. When I was, because my friend wanted to go to the studio, do her thing, record her stuff. I stayed behind to edit a music video that I was way, way, way behind on. All right. As I was editing my music video, this whole thing happened in the living room. So it was a white living room, almost like a 2-room space. I was sitting on the dining table area, which it was side here. The other side was the sofa where he was sitting. So when I was working, as I was working, of course I only focused on working, right? But I also heard what was going on. He was having phone calls, not sure who to, but was talking about his mom, said that he was worried about his mom. And then I was like, oh, that's sad. I hope everything's okay. That was me thinking. But I didn't say anything. I just continued working until he asked for a hug. So, okay, I accept. I can give you that hug. So I went there, gave him a hug. I apologize for the extra noise around.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. So
what? Let me just ask you quickly. So why you thought it was okay to give him a hug when he asked for a hug?
well, I thought it was okay because I felt pity for him. I felt sympathy for him, that he was worried for his mom. And because he's worried for his mom and he's upset with his mom, I feel that, okay, a hug should be safe. A hug should be safe. Nothing else should come from it. You needed some consolation. That's it. You needed something, just to calm yourself down. Okay, hug. I trusted that he had a boundary. I trusted that I would be safe when I gave him that hug. But what I didn't expect after that was how he manipulated me to the point but he then stuck a finger in me. And that's when I got really, really, really scared.
When you say he manipulated you, can you explain a little bit how?
Well, first he asked for a hug, and then the sofa was tight, so it was very tough to have a sit-down hug. So he asked me to lie on him, to hug. I trusted him. After that, he told me, "Oh, you're too heavy." Okay?
You said you are too heavy.
Yeah, I'm too heavy. So now I lie down. Okay. I had a bit of a red flag coming with me that point of time, but I just told myself, okay, he has a line that he wouldn't cross. He's upset with his mom. He is an uncle, right? You should protect your family. You should be safe. Okay. So then I laid down, but then I realized that I got placed in a very compromising position. So when the finger came in, caught me off guard. I panicked. I got scared. And the only thing at the point of time, I can't explain why, but I could only think of going to the toilet. I needed a toilet. I told him I need to go to the toilet. I didn't feel safe to run out. I felt like something bad was happening. And sorry.
Take your time.
It's still triggering.
Yeah, take your time, sister.
For those people who think I'm acting, it's not.
Don't worry about what people have to say. Say your piece.
Okay. So he stuck his finger down. I panicked. I could only think of going to the toilet. It was cold at that time. I'm in a foreign country. I cannot run. So I could only go to the toilet. Went to the toilet. Felt so disgusting. Tried to wash myself. I locked the door because I was so afraid that he would barge in. I peed, and I had a huge frown when my irritable bowel syndrome kicked in because I was so stressed. I was so stressed. And after that, I tried to extend my time in the toilet. I was basically just taking my hands and making plopping noises just so that it sounds like I'm still busy. When he called out, "What's taking you so long?" I got terrified. I was terrified. I didn't dare to come out of the toilet. But at the same time, I know I have work to do. I'm supposed to get done with things. I can't stay in there forever. And actually, he said something funny to me before I went to the toilet, before he allowed me to go to the toilet. He said, "When you come back, take off your pants, you hear? We have to loosen you up a little." I was utterly shocked, confused, scared. But the one thing that I told myself, I am not giving you what you want. So when I unlocked the toilet, went to my room, quickly put on more pants and went back to the dining table to continue my work because I'm going to be answerable for it if it was not done. So that was one part. After that, when I sat down, did my work, he was constantly asking me to come back. And I was scared. I was really, really, really scared. And after the first time the finger went in, my brain was no longer even thinking straight. This is not something that I expected. I didn't want it to go further. So when he constantly called me back, I was terrified. I didn't want him to come and drag me. I thought that if I would just sit with him, he would either apologize for what he did or that nothing else would happen. Because he did tell me this. Sit with me, nothing is going to happen. Nothing is going to happen. This is what you can tell me. Nothing is going to happen. And I trusted. But I was also scared because of the first thing that has happened. Penetration by the finger that has happened. And I felt like, do I know this guy anymore? And if I don't do what he says, is he gonna do worse? So okay, went back, sat with him. And this is when all hell broke loose. Because that's where he violently, both hands pulled down my pants. And he raped me. It was on me. There was nothing I could do. I felt like I was gonna die. My brain was not processing because this is a man that I trusted had a line. He did that to me the first time. Pulled on my pants. I was scared. I was so scared. Yet at the point of time, I couldn't fight back. And when I say he did it not once, this was the first penetration. He held on to me, flipped me over. And bear in mind, this whole time, even at the first penetration, I said, "What are you doing? Stop. I am not comfortable with this. This is painful. Stop." I was ignored. I was blatantly ignored. When I try to fight with him, when I try to tighten my muscles, my thigh muscles so that he cannot go in, the first time round, He ignored me. He just kept saying, relax. I don't want to hurt you. You don't want to hurt me? Was that a threat? I understood that as a threat. Am I going to get killed? These were the thoughts that were running in my head. So let's go back to that. He flipped me over, held on to me. Only thing I thought at one point of time was, let me make it difficult for you. Lift my butt up, purposely dropped it down. Lift my butt up, purposely dropped it down. Each time saying, no, 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 stop it, no. Ignored it. Did it anyway. Second time. I was terrified. I'm scared beyond my wits. What can I do? I told him, I need to go to the toilet again. He said later, I really need to go to the toilet. I begged for him to let me go. And then he said, okay, go. Finally. Went into the room, my room, that I shared with my friend. Took my genital wash. Because I wanted to wash myself. I've never felt so dirty in my life.
Do you want to take a break?
No, I'm okay. I can't stop the emotions and I can't stop the tears from falling. Because every time I tell this story, those memories come back. Those feelings of helplessness, of pain, comes back. But I understand the truth has to be said. I'm here speaking about the truth. So there I was, holding the genital wash. I sat down on the bed.
Sorry, Elaine. When you said you felt dirty, can you explain a little bit why you felt so dirty? Was his semen on you?
No, it's not about that. It's just the fact that you were penetrated by something that you didn't allow, that you had no attachment to. That I have a stable relationship, 14 years with my partner, and it's my sacred temple. It's my sacred temple. That I didn't allow you to enter. That you forced in.
Did he ejaculate inside of you?
No. Because I wasn't done yet. He wasn't done with me yet. And I didn't know it at that time. Which is why I'm going to move on to my third story of me sitting on the bed, holding my genital wash, trying to process what has just happened. I was in shock. I was scared. What can I do? I wanted to take that genital wash. I want to bring it to the toilet. I want to wash myself because I already felt so dirty. But I was stopped because this was when he suddenly came in. He came into the room that was shared by me and my friend. And he asked me, "What are you doing?" I said, "I need to wash myself." And he said, "Nah, man." Immediately, very, very swiftly, came in, grabbed both my legs, and dragged me to the corner of the bed where my friend slept. And then he forced himself on me the third time. Can you imagine how that feels? You're trying to run away. You're trying to stop this man from stopping whatever he's doing. You said no multiple times. You said, "You're hurting me. Stop. This is painful." There was no consideration. You just used me like a toy. I told him, I pleaded with him, "Let me go. Stop." He didn't. He didn't. He was trying to take me as a gratifying toy. He didn't care what I had to say. He didn't care how I felt. I was scared beyond my wits, and the only thing, because I couldn't fight back. I've tried multiple times to tell him to stop. My body couldn't fight back. It froze. And the only thing that time that I wish that my friend would come back and see all this, save me from him. Because what else can I do? What else can I do? I tried fighting. I tried doing what I can. What can I do? Clearly, he was not going to take no for an answer. Clearly, he doesn't care. Do I even know what he's capable of? After a while, he finally stopped. I went to the toilet, cleaned myself thoroughly. Because, like I said, I felt like a smelly ass vagina that was used. And I'm going to do this so that it's easier. Because it's very clear to me right now that my Asian mom can roughly understand what I'm saying, and she doesn't like me to bring this to the public. This is also another risk that I'm taking when I share my story, because Asian shame is real. Even though this was done onto me, when I told my mom about it, initially they were sympathetic, but they do not want me to pursue it any further. They want me to stop. You try to hide all those facts that this happened to me from relatives. So tell me, how do you think I feel? Those watching this, tell me how I'm supposed to feel. A man that you trusted. Has just done this to you. Am I wrong? We're trusting that he wasn't gonna try anything funny because he was worried about his mom. And then that's why I gave him a hug. Am I wrong to trust? When he said nothing is gonna happen, verbally he told me nothing's gonna happen. What else can I say? Is this rape?
So on the third time, did he? I'm sorry. On the third time, did he ejaculate inside of you?
Honestly, third time, I don't know. I wasn't there anymore. After the end of the ordeal, I wasn't there anymore. I was disassociated. And everyone else is just far away. That's my answer.
So when you left the bathroom, how did you get out of the house? Did your friend come back?
Yes, she did.
And what happened when she came back? What did you say to her?
Oh, I didn't say anything, actually. I didn't say anything to her at all. But I just went back, sat on my computer. And after that, basically just like a ghost. I sat in front of the computer and stared at it, an empty screen. Because I couldn't process what has just happened. I was in shock.
So how did the police get involved?
So it happened around 1 a.m.
In the morning or in the daytime?
in the morning. So when the day comes, because everybody already went, my friend went to sleep. After a while, around 5 a.m., I went to sleep. And then Richie had to go leave to take his Japan visa for the next part of the tour. So that's when she sat down with me, asked me about the work. I told her, did I manage to get anything done? We both anticipated he would try to kiss and flirt. So she asked me, did anything happen? I said, yeah. And she said, what happened? I told her, I don't know how to tell you. And then she started going up the scale. Did he kiss you? Yes. Did he touch you? Yes. Did he put his dick in you? I stay silent. And upon a time, the only thing that came out was my tears. And she knew. She knew something happened. So she brought me to Melbourne Sexual Health Clinic.
To where?
Melbourne Sexual Health Clinic. Do you need to see a doctor? I said, yes. That's why she brought me to Melbourne Sexual Health Clinic. Went there, did my checks, told the doctor, was given pills to prevent pregnancy. And then after that, went to the women's hospital. And that's when I had to decide, do I want to bring it to the police? I didn't know when I was going to charge him then, but I did all my checks just in case. Did my rape kit. There was a CASA officer there who was going to help me liaison to the police when I need. And when I finally decided, okay, you know what? I'm calling the cops. Police report was made. When the rape kit was done, the police report was made.
So you gave a statement to the police?
I gave a statement to the police.
And what happened
A
after
brief
that?
statement.
They arrested him?
And then after that, I needed to decide whether or not I want to charge him. That was another decision that I had to make. So by then it was already night. That's when my friend had already arranged for us to be out of the house. Totally out of the house, away from him. To go stay at another person's place. So that I could at least have a safe space. So when I decided to charge, the next day, I went down to the police station and did a 4 to 5 hours interview session for my statement.
What
That's
happened?
when, most to the end of my statement, they told me that they were going to grab him. Before that, he's tried to call us because we just disappeared. The police made me call him and confront him for what he had done. Which was very, very, very traumatizing. Because now you have to confront the person who did that to you. And it's still so fresh.
What did he
Yeah.
say? What did he say when you confronted him?
He said that he was not proud of what he's done.
In front of the police?
That was on the phone. But
The
that phone
the
call
police-
was recorded.
The police heard that?
Yeah, the police reviewed the tape. There was a recorded tape that the police made me call him and was recorded. And he said, I wasn't proud of what I've done, but I wouldn't have done it if it wasn't consensual.
Mm.
And of course, I screamed on the phone, what do you mean it was consensual? I said, no, multiple times. I said, no, multiple times. And that's when he also said, why is your site so echoey? Is someone listening to me? said, no, there isn't. But yeah, of course, it's recorded. But that's when he already knew it was recorded. Because he said, let's talk when you come back. We're not going to say any more here. Let's talk when you come back. Phone call ended. The police grabbed him. And I was still taking my statement. Still in the police station. We don't know what he said to the police. We knew that he was grabbed. When he was grabbed, we came back to the apartment to pick up the rest of our stuff. And then I thought that he'll be held there in the station. That he won't be allowed to continue with his tour. But then I heard he left the police station with the promoter. What happened in the police station? Ask the police. They're not going to tell me anything. I'm very much involved in the case. They won't tell me anything.
Why did he lawyer up?
I don't know.
They didn't tell you why?
No. Just said he lawyered up. And they had to let him go. I don't know. Ask the police. I very much want to call them and ask them. How? Why? How did this happen? That was confirmed in this video, right? He lawyered up.
When did you get the news that they were not gonna continue with the case?
I got the news 19 January 2021.
After both of you left Australia?
Yes. I left about 1 or 2 weeks after the assault. He continued on with his tour.
Why did you stay back?
I was doing counseling. I was trying to get all the things submitted for the case. I wanted to get the police all the things that they need before I leave. Because the probability of them going forward when I'm not there is tough. Because I'm not their citizen. They have no reason to care.
Right.
So I stayed behind for counseling. To heal. Or to try to heal.
Did you take the tablets that the doctor gave you for the
Yes. I followed the 28-day course that was given.
How many days you had to take them for?
28.
Were you scared that you were pregnant?
I was scared. So I just kept on with the routine. I stayed with the routine. Didn't deviate from it.
What would you like to see happen?
Justice, accountability, and the ability for him to stop doing that to any others. Because what he put me through is for life. As you can see, 2021. Every time I remember the memories, I cry. I get triggered. The only difference was whether or not I could function. And after the incident,
I'm sorry.
I
How are
couldn't
you?
function.
But how are you doing now?
I can function. But it doesn't change the fact that the triggers are still there. The memories are still there. The pain is still there. And I'm so scared because he's free that he can do it to someone else.
You said
I
your
don't want him to do it.
I'm sorry. You said your family was against you going forward, or is still against you going forward
Yeah, they want me to drop the case.
because of the shame.
Yeah,
What your fiance think though?
he asked me to go forward. He says we need to hold him accountable for what he's done.
So he believes you.
Yep. See, the thing about in Singapore is this concept of face is very important. When you do really, really well, they're proud of you. But such cases like that, you coming out, talk about what happened to you, is not glorified. Seen as a shame. You don't want me to talk about it. We don't openly speak about sexuality. You cannot talk about rape in media because those are all taboo topics. They don't want to hear it. They don't want to report on it.
Have you contacted the press in Australia?
Not yet.
Are you going to?
I do hope to. Because the Australian police did not do their due diligence.
How long do you think it took the police to let Mr. Stevens go?
Well, you can count the timeline. Case happened 12 November 2019. A decision to not charge 19 January 2021. During which I told the police, I'm appealing it. I'm appealing a decision to not charge.
And did they give you a reason why they were not charging him?
Yes,
What did they say?
because they need to prove 3 points in order to win the case, in order to charge him. An intercourse happened. They have no doubt about that. I did not consent. They have no doubt about that. That's the third point. They don't have enough evidence to prove that he doesn't know I didn't consent. Even if I said no, he claims he doesn't know that I didn't consent.
That's what the police said, or you heard him, or you saw his statement that, or you know that's a part of his statement.
That was what the police said during a phone call I had with them when I wanted to tell them to appeal that charge. So the police believed me, and they said that there is a difference between believing me that it happened and not believing me. They believed I did not consent. But the problem is because Australia works on a jury system, which will usually be made of middle-aged guys, men. And they cannot have enough evidence to convince the jury that he doesn't know I didn't consent. Is why they let him go.
In his statement, he said there were cameras around the building. Can you speak on that?
Trust me, if indeed there were cameras, I would have used that to prove my rape. There wasn't any cameras, no CCTVs, nothing. I would have wanted to use it as evidence. I wanted to use it as evidence. I asked.
How would you though? Because you were in the room, so how would you use it as an evidence? As a part of your evidence?
Well, if you were to think of it, it wouldn't have shown anything except for intercourse happened, right?
But how would it if the cameras were outside?
How would it what? Sorry?
No, you said there were cameras around the building. I don't know what was the significance of him talking about the cameras. So
None.
that's asking you. How would it have helped you or him if there were cameras?
Honestly, none.
So
I'm telling you that was what I initially wanted to do. But then when I spoke to the lawyers, they told me it's a non-issue. It wouldn't have proved anything.
What you wanted to do?
What he wanted to do?
No, what you wanted to do. What you were going to do.
There were no cameras.
Oh, your lawyer said if there were cameras, it would have assisted in your case, right?
No. Cameras wouldn't have mattered.
Right.
But I didn't know. I was just trying to fight the case in whatever method I think I can logically. But then they told me it doesn't matter. Because again, you have to remember, the police believes me. There was an intercourse. They just cannot convince the jury of 12, made up of middle-aged men, that he believes I didn't consent. The issue surrounds consent. And that's what makes it so difficult. It's not as simple as there was no penetration and I'm making up lies.
Right. What would you want to say to Richie now if he's watching?
I'm gonna say that I trusted you to at least tell the truth, have some decency. But now I know you're someone with no heart and no conscience. And before you keep lying, remember this. When the facts come out and they are proof, you'll just be hitting yourself on the foot.
You broke up a little bit. You want to say that again?
When the facts come out, all these things here that I've said today, and there are proofs of my fact, you will just be hitting yourself on the foot.
Do you think they will ever come? That day will ever come? Do you think that will happen? Do you think there is way for you to prove your point or prove that you were telling the truth?
Yes.
Are you trying to appeal the case at this point?
I'm still trying to fight the case. My lawyers are still working on the case. They're still chasing the prosecutors who independently reviewed it. To give me an answer. To explain to us what's the rationale. To explain to us why.
And your fiance is supporting you in this cause, right?
Yes.
Would you like me to speak to him?
What?
Can I speak to him? Can I bring him on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, Mr. Vegas.
Hey, Zach.
David. I'm good. I'm good.
Thanks for the invite, for accepting the invitation.
No problem. The truth needs to be spoken. The truth needs to be said. And I do support Elaine no matter what it is. Okay? Unfortunately, I saw some of the comments and some of them saying that Elaine is only telling it out to keep me. No. I'll stay with her regardless, irregardless of whether she wants to say the truth or not. But if she wants to fight it, I will fight it. And I'll be right in front with her. I'm sorry, I'm a bit emotional about this, but
how that makes you feel when someone says she's doing it because she wants you to stay with her? How that makes you feel?
that's angry. It's clear that some people don't understand how a relationship truly works and whether that person truly loves that person or not. That's what it is. That's what it shows to me. But it's fine. To each his own opinion. So be it. But what I want is the truth to be out. I want justice for what happened to my fiance, my partner, my wife, the person that I trust the rest of my life with, and I want to spend the rest of my life with. I want justice for her.
What when you saw Mr. Stevens try to kiss her or kissed her, what can you speak to me on that?
I was held back by two of the technical crew and one of the waiters at the VIP area. The curtain was slightly ajar. The dance floor could see exactly what he did. As I went back, because I'm a technical guy, I was there to help to make sure that Richie actually had a stage to make him look grand for everybody.
So
I'm sorry.
So How did that? Explain to me how it got to that point where he just tried to kiss her. Explain what happened before.
He was
Were they
doing
having
his
a
show. It
conversation?
was a good show.
Was he and
I made
Elaine?
sure this.
I'm sorry.
Sorry?
Was he having a conversation with Elaine? What?
No?
So
He
out of
was taking
nowhere,
videos for him to make sure that he has a show reel that shows to his Jamaican people and his Jamaican cloud that he did a show in one of the biggest clubs in Singapore. I assisted to become his private security in the VIP so that nobody will bother Mr. Stevenson. I made sure of that. And yet, at the end of the night, when we are all packing it up with the VIP curtain just slightly ajar, I saw them. I saw him grabbing onto her, putting her lips on her. She's trying to struggle out, and I tried to run over. By the time I got to the VIP, people was pulling me back because he says, if you hit somebody international here in C'est La Vie, guess what? I'm a minority in Singapore. I'm Indonesian. I'm Malay. I'm a minority. Guess who gets into trouble? Me. Right? Not Mr. Stevenson. I'm the one who gets into trouble. Help me back. 2 days later, I went back to get my stage that I loaned for Mr. Richie Stevenson. And I asked individually every one of them, did you see that? They confirmed it. They feel bad about it. See, that's when I lost my first, that's the first time I lost trust for Richie. And this is where the predator side of things happen. I believe it's the predator side of things happen. Started, communicating back to normal. He apologized for what he did. He said he was drunk. That's why he did it. I call BS to that. I really do. He apologized. We had a few conversations. Me, Elaine, and him had a few conversations. He worked hard to gain back my trust, the trust of the family. He apologized profusely over and over again. And me, I'm a very simple man. Okay? If the women that I trust and I care for, my family, trust this man again, and they feel like he has apologized enough and he's sorry about it, I will trust him. I'm not a smart man. I'm physically strong, but that's about it. I'm a simple man. I work my ass off to do whatever I need to do to make sure that everybody's shows run well whenever they are here in Singapore. I even got a message from his former tour manager, no less, at that point in time when he first was there. So imagine this, Mr. Vegas. I just want to paint something, okay? You're back in Malaysia and then Singapore, okay? Right now I'm in Singapore. But as you're at home, every day, the person that you love, that you're with, your partner, contacts you every day, and then suddenly she disappears for 2 days straight, right? And then I finally got through. And that's when I found out what happened. After thorough digging and digging and digging, that's when I found out
about
what
what
had
happened?
happened. Yes.
She didn't want you to know.
She says what she told me, she felt ashamed. And I don't blame her.
Right.
She felt that shame and she felt like she betrayed me. She felt like she cheated on me after 14 years. Okay? And I honestly don't blame her. I don't blame her at all.
Did she blame herself?
Yes, she did. Every night. Okay, here's another thing. Let me paint this for you. When she came back, she finally came back, our first night back in JBI, in our own house, in our own bed. Right? After once again, bawling, crying in the shower. I had to pick her up, clean her up, brought her to bed. She finally got to sleep. I wanted to hug her to sleep, but she didn't want it. She just wanted my arm underneath her head. Fair enough. I let it be. I give her some space. I fully understand. And then she started mumbling this. She started sleep talking. Okay? I'm dirty. Nobody wants me. Can you imagine the kind of psychological torture that you had to go through, that by the time you go to sleep, that's what you're mumbling to yourself? For a good 6 months that I was there until I had to go, until I was contracted back to Singapore, till I am now. She was mumbling then in her sleep. Any guy out there in the comments, even to you, Mr. Vegas, imagine that. The person that you love, that you really feel like you couldn't protect, is mumbling that in her sleep. How would you feel? How would you feel? Your daughter, your mom, your own wife, anybody. Sorry, can I smoke on this? Is that okay, Mr. Vegas?
You're doing good, man. Speak, man.
May I smoke?
You can do what you want to do, brother.
All right, thank you. But imagine that, okay? Just imagine that. 6 months. She said that over and over again. I had to hold it in myself. Hold it within myself. Not to get angry, because the person that she needs now is somebody to support her, to be able to carry her and help her whenever is needed. Imagine that pain, huh? Seriously, imagine that pain.
When he tried to kiss her, did she go to was that before she went to Jamaica?
Way before. That was the first time ever he came here. We
So
went
she
in a
went,
big, yeah, it was the first time.
so she went to
I
Jamaica.
was, the second time was in Jamaica. That was after C'est la vie, yes. Because,
Did she tell
again,
did she tell you what happened in Jamaica, that he tried to kiss her again in Jamaica?
unfortunately, no. Because I know why, and I know why she didn't tell me, because she felt ashamed. She didn't want me to get angry. Trust me, if I bring you right now to my room, the amount of holes that I have in that room, just because when I was angry, they say a good man has a lot of rules in his life to make sure that he doesn't do anything. I keep it within that room. She doesn't want me to react like that. She doesn't want me, because I was not there. I was running our school, the businesses here in Singapore. Okay.
Why did you allow her to go to Australia with him?
Why? Because he earned my trust, and I didn't even know what happened in Jamaica, unfortunately.
Hmm.
All right.
Were you against her going with him after you saw what happened with the kiss?
In Australia, when it was time in Singapore,
Yeah.
initially I was. Of course I was. All right, of course I was. Why wouldn't I be? But that's when he had conversations with me and Major. He was apologizing to me, Major, Elaine, all together. His tour manager, his former tour manager, was apologizing to us, short to near getting on their knees and apologizing.
So you believed he was sincere?
Of course. Like I said, I'm a simple man. I'm not a smart man. I'm just simple. I'm a simple man. And unfortunately, at that point in time, a naive man as well. I shouldn't have let that happen. I should have done something to Richie the first time around I saw that. Let's put it that way.
Are you getting some counseling yourself?
I am. I've been on counseling. I'm a former survivor myself. Let's be honest here, okay? That's why I know how Elaine feels. Truly know. That's the only part that I actually got strength from, because I am a former survivor myself. Because I knew what she needed. I'm on regular counseling. Yes, I am. I'm on medication too. But that's it. But that's normal for me. That's my life. That's my past.
You think that gives you strength to stay by your side?
They give me strength not to want to do worse things to Mr. Stevenson. I'll put that as that. I'll leave it as that.
Well, what do you want to say to him, to Mr. Stevens, if he's watching?
Honestly, if he's watching this, and I'm staring right at the camera, just in case, so that everybody can see my eyes and he can see my eyes, I pity you. I don't hate you, but I pity you. Why I pity you? I pity your family. I pity the island that you live in, because they are hiding somebody who's a predator, that is willing to do the most heinous act. Even death cannot cleanse away from your soul. Mr. Richard Stevenson, if you can hear this, I pity that you are around. I pity the island that you are on, because they have to live around you. And the sheer fact that you could do this again. That's what I want to say to him.
Any final words, Elaine?
I just wanted to address, you know, that I understand Zach is angry, you know, but we don't hold or blame the Jamaican people for what has happened. The more
That is
important thing that we are addressing is the fact that he is free. He has done this to me. I don't want to see him do it to anyone else. No one else gets hurt. No one else gets through this. I almost wasn't alive. I couldn't. I almost killed myself going through this. No one else must go through this. The truth needs to be known. The truth needs to be known. The person that he really is needs to be known. Because I cannot bear the thought of it happening to someone else. This is a lifetime scar. And I'm sure all the survivors would agree, this is a lifetime scar.
With that said, I want to bring on Marlene. She's also a survivor, and she is a professional in this field that I would like for her to, give me her take on what's going on here, because I think this needs some professionals. I'm just opening up the platform to you guys so you guys can let the world know what your truth is. So I'm going to bring on Marlene. So you can stay on. I think she maybe have a few words for you guys. All right. Hi, Marlene. How are you?
Hi, Mr. Vegas. Thank you for having me on the show. This
I,
was
I,
so
I apologize. I apologize for having you waiting so long. I should have given you a later time, but I did not know it was gonna. But thank you for sitting in.
Thank you. Elaine, I'm listening to you and I'm hearing the pain that you're feeling and listening to your story. And I'm listening also to your husband and just hearing the pain that you both bring to this situation. I am a licensed clinician and I have my own story of abuse where I was abused for years. And I think, when that happens that we struggle with people believing our story, which, this is someone famous that you're talking about. And I'm sure that, you will hear a lot of people that will say, basically, they'll question everything that you're saying. I can relate to the fear that you said you feel when this is happening to you. And I can also, I hear what you said you were feeling at the time. I'm also very aware, just like you said that they're saying in Australia, this is a case that's ongoing, and I'm sure that there's legal implications to it and that it will be looked at so many angles. And I'm sure that the consensual basically will be the big issue here. I think, stepping back as any other person, what I'm also hearing is common for everyone that's in similar situation, that you're alone with someone in an apartment or wherever it may be, and there's some sexual assault or whatever it may be alleged. At this point it's your word against his, and the way that any court of law or jury or whoever will basically put the pieces together to try to figure out if this is true or not true. That's what I'm hearing. However, it doesn't take away from you as a woman that was in this situation and is basically saying this is what happened. And then you have the other party, which is, Mr. Stevens, Mr. Ritchie, basically saying what happened there. So there's two stories. And I am hearing your pain as you tell the story. And like I said, I could relate to that. And I think, like, for myself, listening to the story, and I guess, I need to just say it because I'm talking to you about this. And you're right. A lot of people will question, like, certain parts that you say, like you gave him a hug because you felt that, for whatever reason that you hugged him. And I'm also knowing that culturally, that your culture is very, very trusting. I'm also hearing that, and as a clinician, I'm trained on diversity, and I understand, like, so much of how your culture is in terms of very, very trusting and taking people at their word. Am I right, Elaine?
Yep.
Okay, and I hear, your husband said the same thing too. So basically, culturally, that when someone gives you your words or someone apologizes, you expect it to be so. And all of that I'm very conscious of, only because, based on the field that I work in. So I am taking that into consideration of how trusting your culture is. And, I can only wish that where you're concerned, that you continue to get help and get treatment with your trauma, like you said, and how you're reliving it over and over again. And in your situation, I'm guessing that for whatever reason, I don't know if it was financially that you had to remain on the tour or whatever, your situation is at the time, meaning that maybe you were working. Were you working there? What was the story with that?
Are you referring to why I was on the tour?
Yeah, not the reason as to why. What I'm asking is, the fact that you guys were there, like whatever, your reason is. I know you said that you were documenting stuff.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm guessing that's it. That's the reason that you were on that tour, based on what you said.
I was working with Major One, so I was part of her team, and I was assisting on her end, and she was doing a collaboration. It was the Jamaican Flavor Tour, was a collaborative tour between the both of them.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out. The reason that you were actually there and working with him. I figured it was something to do. It was work related. I just needed to clarify that.
Mm-hmm.
And I also understand when you said about what a jury would look like, because you're absolutely right in terms of what a jury would look like and in terms of the questions that they will ask and the conclusions that they might come up with. You're absolutely right with all that. However, my question to you is this. It sounds like, like culturally, just that you're coming out and talking about these things that happen to you. Like, how are you being perceived by other, like your friends, not even family so much, but friends and people that know you socially? How are you being perceived by them, just because you're coming out and talking about what happened to you?
Well, I have people who support me. The survivors support me. My allies support me. My friends support me. But my own family, not so much. They rather not even have this thing go out. So, this whole thing about, does anybody understand how difficult it is to come forward as an Asian person to say, I got raped? This is not a joking matter. My face is going to be everywhere. How my culture is going to perceive me, that's a whole different aspect that I need to deal with.
Absolutely. And that's what I was thinking when I was listening to you. And I know I sound a bit hoarse because I was listening to you and I got very emotional just from your story and what you were stating. And it's, I can only hope that you find the peace and also that you're able to get some kind of, I guess, satisfaction in what you're seeking. And I did hear you, just say that you want the courts to continue with this case. Is that what you're hoping for?
Yes, but I will be honest and say that the Australian police wants to close the case, and they haven't really paid much attention to it. I had to chase for my own results. They haven't gave me everything that I asked for. They don't want to give me a proper police report. Sergeant XXX did what was done. None of that. They only gave me a sheet of paper that said, okay, you made a police report. My case is not taken seriously. So am I supposed to trust the justice system that it will proceed?
I hear what you're saying, and I think that's someone that every person that has struggled with sexual assault basically goes through. It's not only in Australia, but it's just about in every country, just about. And I actually read some of the Australian laws a few minutes ago, actually about an hour or so ago. Mr. Vegas had provided me with some of that, and I was reading through, and it basically will take, take a lot to prove based on what their law is there. So it was good that he sent that to me prior to this interview, because in hearing what you said and what I read, like, it basically made sense. And for all parties involved, whether it's you or whether the person that you're saying did something to you, I'm just hoping that some agreement could be reached between the both of you as to accountability. I'm very big on accountability when it comes to sexual issues, because as a survivor myself, I know I spent many years trying to get someone to say to me, I am sorry. That's all I needed to hear. And I know that as someone that goes through it, that's what we want. We want someone to take accountability and say, I did this to you and I'm sorry, and really mean it, so that way we can begin the process of healing. And is that what you're expecting, Elaine? Like, what are you expecting?
You might, I know a lot of people would expect I am sorry, but I have also heard of people who haven't come forward, who haven't said anything, and they never got justice. I spoke to a lot of survivors. They said that that very scary part is the fact that when you let a perpetrator go, when you tolerate rape, when you tolerate rapists, he's free to do it to someone else. So the amount of risk that I'm carrying is not to seek clout. It doesn't make sense for me to seek clout as a Singaporean to Jamaica.
It's important that you said that, Elaine, and Marlene maybe can speak on this a little bit more because of the studies that you have done. I think what people do not understand is, for in our culture, it is looked at a person who goes through this, they're not looked at in a good way.
Oh yeah, of course.
And
The media doesn't want to talk about it.
I'm not even speaking on the fact that to take in, because I'm trying to be very objective in this situation.
Yeah.
But based on the studies that I've done, and you have done more studies on this than I have done, I'm aware that it's like a disgrace. Like, you're like, you're an outcast in this culture.
Yeah.
It's actually like, it's not even something that men would be like, want to be seen with a woman that goes through those
Because
things.
they're
So
considered dirty.
I applaud
You're
the
considered
support.
used. You're
The
considered
husband.
dirty. And most people believe that the moment that happens and that fact goes out, you're never gonna find a guy. You're never gonna marry. Your life is gone. You might as well go kill yourself.
Are you scared of losing your fiance?
No. No, because during this terrible time, he see me through it all. He was there for me. And I know his temper. But he was patient. He was patient when I didn't want to eat. He was patient when I didn't want to just go close to him. I couldn't sleep. I could only cry. And I was going through all these triggers that were just flashbacks and it just keep happening. He was very, very tolerant, very understanding, and very, very accepting. So no, I'm not afraid of losing him.
Marlene, before we wrap this up, you said something interesting that I'm also aware of when it comes down to victims, because I've been around situations where people that have been abused, sexually abused, they speak in their sleep and they say things in their sleep like they're still going through the process, or they relive in the moment. Can you speak on that a little bit?
So it relates to what Elaine said earlier about trauma. Like when you've gone through any kind of trauma, a lot of times when you go to sleep, you're basically dreaming about it again and you're reliving the experience over and over and over again. And it's not only when you're sleeping. I'm sure there's certain smells, there's certain sounds, there's a lot of stuff that, I'm sure that Elaine can tell you that will bring it back. So you're constantly reliving it. And, it's similar, like someone you talk about now, you have all these, I do work with veterans. So you have all these veterans that are coming back from Afghanistan, from Iraq, and they're coming back with PTSD. So it's similar. There's no difference between someone going to war than someone that's been, whether you're raped or, sexually molested in any way. It's similar because maybe someone could more understand, like if they said, oh, if a soldier that's coming back and they hear a loud noise, they immediately respond. It's similar. So maybe people will understand better what you're going through, because I think for a lot of people, they fail to understand just how much, when you've been through something like that, like Elaine said, it was feeling dirty, trying to wash it off. And then I know that people may question and said, oh, you just got raped, why would you want to bathe when you know that you're gonna go medical? Guess what? Majority of people, they wash themselves off because they feel so dirty. The first thing you're thinking is to just wash yourself off. So it's, listening to what Elaine said, it's very common, even though a lot of people will look at it and said, oh, you just got raped, you do know that you should have medical, you shouldn't wash yourself. But those are just normal reactions that someone may have. So it's, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. It's related to not only, like I said, and I'll repeat it again, a lot of people mostly see that as someone coming back from military or fighting in wars, but it's similar to sexual trauma.
Interestingly, Tanya Stevens said the same thing with her ordeal. She chose to remain to not say the person's name, but she said the same thing about washing herself. Like she said she was washing herself for like all the time. Like after the ordeal, she went home and she washed and she felt dirty. So I'm hearing this. I mean, I'm hearing the same thing with what you're saying and what Elaine is saying. So I guess that's part of the trauma.
Absolutely. And I guess Elaine could speak to that too, based on, her trauma is pretty new. I mean, for years, there's certain behaviors. I scream in my sleep. If a man touches me in my sleep, I have relationship issues, because when I'm in a relationship and someone touches me in my sleep, I can never distinguish in my sleep that this is someone that loves me, that I'm no longer being, abused. So it's something that I live with daily. And I could hear, like Elaine's husband said, he wasn't able to touch her, crying and all this. I've been there. So yes, it's, if people would like view things that way, that when there's trauma there, we react that way. It's just subconsciously. It's not that we plan, it's just subconsciously. And it's just the way that the body deals with trauma.
So in 60 seconds, what can you say to them to through this to deal with whatever is going on with them?
I would tell Elaine to continue to work with counseling. And then also her husband, I'm hearing you, sir. And I'm also hearing the same thing, that wait, let me just stop for a minute. I have to commend you on being such a strong man, first of all, to stand by her. I have to commend you for that, because a lot of times, especially culturally, let's be for real, she's raped by someone that's totally different than you are. So
Allegedly.
yeah, allegedly, sorry, allegedly, raped. Let me just make that clear. Allegedly raped by someone that's so different than you are. And you're standing by her. I mean, even the culturally for her, the disgrace that surrounds her, that's coming from family, from the outside, from everyone else. I give you a lot of credit for being there for her. And you know what? The reality is that Elaine needs that, but you both need counseling to get through this period.
Well, I want to thank you, Marlene, for your words. Elaine, as I told you before, I'm just I think you need to be heard. Um, and I spoke to you off the air, and I don't want it to just be a conversation that we are having. I spoke to Richie. My platform is open. If Richie as you know want the world to hear his side as well. So thanks for your time. And Zach,
Yes, sir.
I take my hats off to you, man.
Thank you, sir. I'm sorry. My emotions got the best of me just now, but I really am sorry.
A human brother, you have done what
Thank you.
uh,
The true survivor is Elaine. I I'm here to support wherever I can.
I know what it feels like to be around a woman that is going through what she's going through. I've had relationships where women cry in their sleep and get hysterical. I've had relationships where um, I remember a fiance I had at one point in the middle of intercourse, she passed out and started screaming and hollering, and there was a dog that in the whole thing that happened, and she was like, "Don't let him bite me! Don't let him bite me!" So it went to the point where sex was impossible, and then we drifted. And now listening to you, I feel guilty. I feel like because at that point I was very immature. I think I only saw a relationship at that time like sex was the main part of a relationship. So I
Mhm.
was young and I drifted. And now listening to you, um, you know, you let me feel ashamed, brother.
Uh,
So
that's not what I meant to do. I want to tell the story of how a survivor goes through. That's all I want to say. I want the truth to be out. What survivors have to go through, the aftermath of everything we've gone through. You
I
know,
think, I think what people and this is one of the reasons why, as a father, this is one of the
Mm,
reasons why I decided to share my platform with you guys.
thank you.
Well,
I appreciate that.
you see this whole victim shaming. I've seen a lot of those things in my lifetime,
Mm,
and I would hate to know that I had an opportunity to speak to you guys, and I passed on that opportunity. I was not there. I was not in that room, but I have children, and I'm going to listen to my children if this, God forbid, should happen. So
mm.
stay strong.
Thank you, Mr. Vegas. Thank you, sir.
Marlene, thanks again for the
Okay.
conversation. We'll talk, Marlene, because I know you have a lot of stuff working on and I want to get
Thank,
involved with.
thank you so much, Elaine and Zach. All the best, and I could just wish you all the best on this journey.
Elaine,
Yep.
thanks for coming on. Um, we heard you, and take care of yourself.
Thank you,
And if
We
you
everybody.
will.
decide, if whatever, you can let us know what's going on. You can give us the update. You can let me know. I'll share it with the people what's going on. If you decide to continue
I,
fighting,
I would
or
I
you're
would say that I don't trust the cops to really do anything because, like you have heard, this is not an easy case once it surrounds consent. And
right.
you did not expect this to happen. So you are not going to press record. You're not going to do anything because you're just shocked, in shocked.
Well, keep us posted.
Yeah.
We
All
will.
right. Take care, Zach. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Big up.